Hi, everybody. My name is Myles Wallace, and I'm with Peak Performers. We're a nonprofit staffing and recruiting agency that helps professionals with disabilities find jobs and advance their careers. I'm here today with James. And James, would you mind introducing yourself?
Thank you, Myles, for having me. I'm James Lampasona, and I am a certified professional coach. I help professionals who are looking to develop their leadership skills, as well as being a mental health coach. So I will help people who are functional, who want to improve in any area of their life, whether that's professional or personal.
So, I want you to imagine the year 2009. I am the only one of my friends that recently graduated college and got their first job. Everybody else is unemployed. I get a job as an email marketer. Don't hate me forever. I'm sorry. But my job was to send out spam emails on behalf of some rather irrefutable companies to hundreds of thousands of people across America, and it was not a good fit. And one day, I accidentally sent the wrong email to 250,000 people.
Thanks.
Needless to say,
Yeah.
I was fired.
Mm-hmm.
And it was devastating for me. I remember kind of being caught in a downward spiral for many, many months afterwards. And I experienced many feelings of shame, of regret, of anger towards those folks, my previous employer. Are the feelings that I felt normal?
They are normal. And a lot of times we beat ourselves up, and we shouldn't be doing that because what we're feeling is authentic. So it's important to stay out of your head and not be blaming yourself and going through the things you talked about, because that negative self-talk is detrimental to our health and our mood. The more we criticize ourselves and hang out in that shame, which is a very powerful emotion, the more we will spiral, like you talked about.
So some people might be terminated like I was, but other people might be subject to mass layoffs as we're experiencing in the tech sector here in Austin.
Correct.
So talk with me about the difference of experience and the different emotions that people might feel if they are laid off versus fired.
Okay, I'll use my own example. I was laid off from a company here in Austin, and it was because the company needed to downsize. The company wasn't doing well. And I could rationalize that better because I was told this is not about your performance. What happened was I showed up on someone's spreadsheet. I came from an IT role and I had switched careers into talent management, and I was doing learning and development. And that's why I was let go. I could rationalize that. That wasn't my fault.
But it was still difficult on you, right?
It was very difficult. Now, if you're fired, the shame around that is intense. Like, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. A lot of I'm nots, and that has a tendency to cause shame and embarrassment. We don't even want to tell people we got fired because we're embarrassed. We don't want people to think poorly of us, and there's so much of our identity is wrapped up in our work. So whether we are let go or we're fired, we are losing personal relationships. We're losing status, perhaps. We're losing a lot, and loss is painful.
So we talked a lot about how many of these feelings that we experience are pretty common, that I felt them, that you felt them, that many of our audience members have felt them as well. And I would point out too that looking for a job sucks for everybody.
It does.
It's, you couple that with a traumatic experience like that and it can be really, really hard. When should you seek out help though?
When you are finding that you move from a functional state to a non-functional state, so you're in bed all day long, you're not eating or you're overeating, you used to exercise and you don't do that anymore. So things that you typically did before while you were employed, being functional, you're not being that way anymore. You are isolating, you're not returning phone calls, you're not returning email messages. Those are all warning signs that your mood is diminishing. Reach out to people who you trust and you know they're not going to give you advice or say you just need to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's not helpful. Find people who are going to be supportive and listen, truly listen, and acknowledge and validate how you feel so that you can move past that.
I can't tell you how often that I run into job seekers at job fairs and they just look down in the dumps, like they just look like they've been run over by a truck emotionally. And that can be really damaging for you to go out in that state, right?
If you're feeling rotten and you've got a lot of negative self-talk and you're just feeling heavy, whether you're depressed or anxious, it doesn't matter. If you're in that state, don't go. Do an assessment. Am I going to be able to get there and promote myself in a positive way. If you don't think you can, it's okay, just stay home. But don't procrastinate when you get home. Don't sit in front of the TV. Do something, go for a walk, do something that you can look back at the end of the day and said, I accomplished something today.
I always like to point out that no step is too small. Say, for example, you go and today you just update your resume, or today you go and you apply for one job. Well, that's still one more than you applied for yesterday.
That's correct.
Would you agree?
I totally agree. And I think we say, I just don't want to do it today. Give yourself 15 minutes. Say, I'm going to work just for 15 minutes. The starting is the most difficult part. Once you start, you will continue because you have momentum.
Feelings that you're feeling, you were not alone. We have felt those feelings before, and there's nothing wrong with you. Maybe you were a bad fit for your particular role. Maybe you were subject to, the organization changing. And as is in your case, whatever it is, don't fault yourself. Move past it and try to keep yourself motivated towards the next thing, because you will find something. You will find another job.
You will. And you're right, Myles. Having hope is so critical when you're looking for a job. Hope and getting support to stay strong. And, we don't want to get support. We don't like asking for help. Do it.
Well, thank you so much, James. I really appreciate you coming on
You're
to
welcome.
talk about this really important topic. So often in employment, we have to be positive, we have to be upbeat and chipper. Sometimes there's a lot of negative emotions that are coming in from whatever we've left behind too. So thank you. It's a very valuable topic.
It is.
Would you mind telling me a little bit more about your practice?
Sure. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm the only James Lampasona on the platform. And I help folks who are either professionals who are looking for development, specifically leadership development, learning and development. It's not training, and mental health. I follow the client's agenda. I don't have an agenda when I coach, and it's an opportunity. We create a safe space where the client can explore and discover their own answers, because I believe that everyone has it within themselves. They already have their answers. They just need help to bring them to the surface.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. Again, this has been Myles from Peak Performers, and this is James right here, wishing you the very best on your job search. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Bye.